Hey makeup friends, we are gathered here today to talk about new releases, and I just want to forewarn you, this whole occasional F-bomb thing that I've got going on my channel, we might blow that out of the water with this video. Let's do this. Okay, before we dive into the video, as always, I want to welcome you back to my channel, or if you are new here, then hello and welcome. My name is Kara, and on my channel, we like to mix beauty, brains, and usually the occasional F-bomb, although I make no promises about this particular video. Again, before we dive into it, very quickly, I just want to talk about the makeup that I've got going on. I am trying out a bunch of new products from LYS, Love Yourself, so that is the foundation, blush, bronzer, setting powder, all sorts of stuff going on my face. On my eyes, I have some shades from the Tartelette In Bloom palette, and then I also have a shade from the Adept Cosmetics Plain Jane palette all over my lid. This shade right here, ACI 8. On my lips is a bit of a Franken lipstick, so I started off by lining with one of the Jardin Cosmetics liners in Share, and then I went in with Pure Hollywood from ABH, and then in the very center of my lips I used this guy here from Ofra and Jen Love in the shade Revive. Alright, let's get into this. So if this is your first time catching one of my new release videos, how I like to structure them is I like to rank them from what I am the least interested in and move towards what I am the most interested in. Now I typically keep it to only 12 items, but this week I couldn't narrow it down beyond 14. So we're going to be talking about a few extra things, but I suspect nobody's really going to object. Now bear in mind, some of these items I have zero interest in, but I really just wanted to discuss them with you. So that's where we're going to start today, and we're going to be taking a look at Jeffree Star. Frankly, I hesitate to say his name on my channel because it's so very polarizing. But you know, he who shall not be named is already taken, so let's just call him Jeff. Okay, so Jeff has recently released what I can only call Blood Sugar 2.0. This is in celebration of the 3-year anniversary of the original Blood Sugar palette. Can somebody please explain to me why 3 years is worthy of a celebratory collection? That seems like a very arbitrary benchmark. I don't really get that. But let's move past that. Perhaps this palette's bringing something new, something exciting, something that will draw in people that missed the palette 3 years ago. Oh wait, no. No, it doesn't. It's the exact same palette. This time though, it's in a white case, which is a colossally stupid idea for an eyeshadow palette, in my opinion. And in fact, Jeff himself has warned that the pigments are likely to stain this, so perhaps this is better off as just a collector item. So Jeff, just so I get this straight, a year into a pandemic, you're asking consumers to spend, what is it, $52 US on a palette that has already been on the market for 3 years, but which you are suggesting we don't actually use because it's going to become so dirty that we're not going to be able to clean it. Can't relate. Okay, but if that price point is a little bit too high, he has come out with a mini palette. The mini palette's going to retail for $28, so this makes much more sense. Perhaps there's a compelling collection of shades in there that are going to bring something new to the table if you already have the Blood Sugar palette. Oh, wait, no, it's the exact same thing. So there are 8 shades out of 9 that are already existing in the Blood Sugar palette. The only thing that's different is the center shade, which is just basically a red shimmery shadow. Okay then, Jeff. And then he's brought in this massive vault of liquid lipsticks and a highlighter palette, which frankly, I just don't even want to talk about. I don't care. You can get the mini lipstick vault for $160. You can also get a fancy little star mirror for $25, and you can buy both eyeshadow palettes for $70 and all the palettes for $100. How the fuck many palettes? Oh, with the face palette, gotcha. Or you can buy the full collection for $250, keeping in mind that you would then be buying not only a palette that was released 3 years ago and has remained on the market for those 3 years, but you'd also be buying a mini version of the exact same fucking palette. What? Hard pass, Jeff. Hard fucking pass. I have basically never seen anything so lazy in my life. Now, granted, when I use the word "it seems like a cash grab," basically any sort of consumeristic exchange is a cash grab. I am fully aware of this. You sell something, you are looking to grab the market's cash. But this, I believe, falls squarely under the Webster's definition of cash grab. There is basically no thought put into this, including the fact that they just put it into a white package and are now telling consumers, FYI, this is gonna stain all to shit, so you might not actually want to use this palette. What the fuck? And then the mini palette is so that, if you're traveling in the middle of a pandemic, you can have a curated set of the shades that you already have in this palette. What? Oh my gosh, this whole thing just made my mind go explode. I cannot. So basically, even if you can get yourself past the fact that this is coming from Jeff, he's basically saying, you know what? I'm not going to give you any compelling reason to buy this. Okay, cool. Let's move on. Again, under the category of what the fuck, there's this collection here between Sephora and Coach. First of all, huh? But second of all, Coach. When I think of Coach, first of all, I think of a horse with a carriage, because isn't that their symbol on all their shit? I don't know. I have a Coach purse, but I don't spend all my time staring at it. But I do not think unicorns, sharks, and dinosaurs. What? I'm trying really hard not to just sprinkle the F word everywhere, but just picture it raining down the screen. Just go, what the fuck? I do not understand what is going on here. I truly don't understand. So you can buy, there's 2 different eyeshadow palettes. They retail for $50 Canadian each. Huh? It's meant to look like a keychain? Am I really supposed to throw this thing into my purse? What? This literally makes my brain just glitch. I genuinely don't understand what this is. Or who are they marketing this for? Because this literally looks like something that you would find at Claire's Accessories, except that it's $50 a palette. Huh? No. Just no. There it is. Again, I'm glitching. I genuinely don't understand this. And then the brushes come with these little rings, which again, look like the most juvenile things out there. And I mean, I'm okay with juvenile. Do we all remember? They're sitting right in front of me. Do we all remember my little chicky earrings? I am going to bust these out at one point. I'm going to make you watch me wear them throughout an entire video. So I'm cool with cute, but not at $50 a pop. I'm not. I'll tell you that right now. Let's see. What are the prices on the rest of these things? So there's a nail set. There's all sorts of stuff going on in here. For all you Americans, these eyeshadow palettes are $38 US. The brush set is $68 US, and I don't remember what that translates to Canadian, but probably in the neighborhood of about $80. $80 for 5 brushes with detachable rings that look like something even my 8-year-old would be a little I'm not sure that I want to wear those because I've got some street cred to maintain. Yeah, I have no other cogent words to say, so let's move on to the next, and that is not so much an item as it is, I guess, an announcement of sorts under the category of wah wah. KVD is rebranding yet again. So I guess this time they're trying in a very roundabout, unsuccessful way to create distance between KVD herself and what they're still insisting on calling KVD, except now they're going to call it Cara Veritas Decora, which Literally nobody's gonna go to this like Sephora and be like, hey, do you carry Cara Veritas Decora? Nobody is going to say, nobody's gonna remember what that is. I'm only gonna remember what the K is because it's my damn name. So what the hell, KVD? I don't understand why they're so married to these initials. KVD herself was the problem in the first place. Why would you not just completely overhaul yourself? I mean, granted, I think this might be slightly better than like Kendo Vegan Beauty doing good, making excellent choices, mom is proud, or whatever that nonsense was, but like marginally. Just slightly. And so they then have to explain it even further. So not only have they just found 3 random Latin words, but now they're like value, truth, beauty. Okay, so call yourselves VTB. At least people might have a chance of remembering that. This makes 0 sense to me. Each letter stands for a Latin term that acts like pillars that drive the brand forward and inspire the facets of the brand. Well, you know what? I could go by KVD too then. Cara vaccinates. Duh. All right. And with that, I am going to lower my blood pressure and conclude the ranting portion of this video. Let's move on to some items that I'm not offended by, but not necessarily interested in. First up is going to be Propa Beauty and the new lipsticks that they are going to be releasing on March 8th. They are expanding their shade range to include reds. Now, I have a couple lipsticks from Propa, and I really like the formula of them. I think they're very comfortable on the lips. They apply really nicely, they wear really nicely, lots of good pigmentation. They feel almost balm-like on the lips. They're very comfortable. However, I'm not currently interested in any red bullet lipsticks. I received 3 Lisa Eldridge red lipsticks for Valentine's Day. I am set at this point. So while I really like the formula and I like the brand in general, these shades are just not up my alley at this point. They're not something that I'm interested in. That is the only reason that it is being ranked as low down on the list as it is, because I think the quality of the product itself is going to be fantastic. It's just not something that I'm in the market for personally. All right, so then there's an eyeshadow palette coming from e.l.f. and it's going to be a collaboration with Chipotle. Now, I don't know if we actually have Chipotles in Canada. If we do, not in my area. I've never seen one in the wild. So I have no idea if Chipotle is any good. I have no idea. But this palette looks very pretty. I'm just not in a big hurry to go out and find it. Because first of all, it's probably never going to make its way up to Canada. Let's just call a spade a spade. I don't really care enough to like order it from the website and wait the like 3 weeks that it takes for their stuff to reach me. And I find that e.l.f. is a little hit or miss in their eyeshadows. I have some of their little bite-sized palettes, fantastic, and I have others that I'm like, this sucks. So who knows how this is going to perform. I really like the color story of it. I think it's really weird that they're collabing with Chipotle, but I mean, the same can be said with a lot of collaborations that are out there, like Coach. What the fuck? So this one, while it looks really pretty, I think I'm just going to admire it from afar because the practicality of me actually getting it is a pain in the ass, and I'm a little gun shy around e.l.f. palettes. It's probably not going to cost an awful lot. Let's see here, $16. So, I mean, you're not going to break the bank on this one, but they're just hit and miss enough for me that I'm not super anxious to go out and like grab everything that they release. Now, aside from just the palette, there are other items as well, including a lip gloss. There's a sponge set and a makeup bag, and you can get the full collection for $52. It's going to be available for e.l.f. members on March 9th and for everybody else March 10th. I literally just swiped through and saw the picture of the 2 sponges. 10 points to Gryffindor for this picture. That is adorable. All right, we have another lipstick launch to talk about, this time from Pat McGrath. She is bringing back her LiquiLust liquid lipsticks, but this time there are 8 new shades. I do have one of these shades. I bought Divine Nude when it released back the end of January. I have to say, I actually really like the formula on this. I don't find it to be very drying. I do find that it is very long lasting and that it is comfortable on the lips. Not necessarily my favorite of the liquid lipstick formulas that I've tried, but definitely not the worst offender in the bunch by a long shot. So I think there are some very, very pretty colors here. They are available now on her website and they retail for $30 each in case you are interested. The Crayon Case is releasing 8 different curated palettes. These are their mini notepads. There are 8 shades in each. There's a variety of finishes within each palette and they're going to retail for $12 each. I'm not going to read the names because it's like blue edition, purple edition. I mean, you have eyes, you can see it, it's all good. I think there's some really pretty palettes in this mix, like the yellow, the orange, the green. Yes, please. Even the neutral one, to be honest, like get on my eyeballs. I, first of all, don't know where you buy these. It doesn't even say. I guess on their website. I guess. It just says available now, but it doesn't say where. So I'm guessing the Crayon Case website. Never tried anything from Crayon Case. I have no idea what their quality is like. I don't know. I just don't see myself actually buying them. Although the more I look at that orange one, the more I start to hesitate and think maybe, just maybe I will. I think it's a good idea. Like, I'm not knocking this release at all. I love the idea of like little mini palettes in a curated color collection. I like that they haven't just done like one same tone in each of these palettes. Like, yes, obviously like blue is the predominant theme in the blue palette, but there's differences. There's like a black almost, there's an icy blue, like there's a big mixture of actual tones within each palette. So I think that's really smart. I don't know, do you ever have that where like you can like something and kind of want it, but like know that you're not going to buy it? I don't know, that's the camp I'm in here. Sometimes I just can't explain myself. There it is. I can't explain it. I think if I didn't have my beauty budget going on, I probably would buy 1 or 2 of them just to try them out, just to see, all that kind of thing, but I don't really need these. Let's talk about another eyeshadow palette though. This one is from Makeup by Tammy and it's really pretty. This is the Chasing Butterflies palette. It's very bright. It's very fun. I think it's really pretty. That bright pink and the bright green, like they suck my eyeball in. That's a really gross image and I don't know why I made that sound. I apologize. I think it's beautiful. I know though that I would not get a lot of use out of this. Here's the thing. I like bright, colorful, fun makeup sometimes. My tastes are changing. I am leaning more and more towards more neutral kind of tones than I am towards really bright, vibrant neons. Maybe because I'm getting older, maybe it's just because that's just how it goes. Our makeup tastes change from time to time and I'm going through a more neutral phase. I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm like just devoted to neutrals entirely, but more toned down. So while I still appreciate color, I find that I'm mixing it more with neutrals rather than just putting color all over my eyes. So this is one of those palettes that I think I would have a lot of fun playing with once or twice, but it would spend the majority of its time sitting on my shelf rather than actually being used. So for that reason, I am going to pass on this one, but I did want to include it in here because I wanted you guys to see it because I think it's beautiful. And in case anybody else out there really loves colorful makeup, this might be something that's right up your alley. Okay, now let's talk about a foundation. This one coming from Makeup Forever. This is going to be the new Water Tone foundation. So this is replacing the Water Blend foundation, but it does have a slightly different formula. Now I haven't tried the Water Blend, so I can't speak to that one. This one says that it is totally transfer proof and mask proof. That sounds really cool. Has a natural, fresh finish, and that it has what kind of coverage? Does it say? It does not, so I cannot tell you. So it all sounds very interesting. It's also supposed to be good for your skin with 94% natural ingredients. That's fantastic. It's going to be releasing in March. I don't know what the price point is. Oh yes, I do. $37 US each. I'm sorry, I've said this before. I don't tend to read the descriptions before I actually sit down to film because I don't like to like pre-rehearse things. So sometimes I'm like, and I stumble over my words. There we go, $37, awesome. It's It's going to be available in 23 shades, 3 of which are exclusive to Asia. Why? I don't know. Here's my thing. Let's look at the shade range. So, okay, first of all, the deep model, I would argue, is not deep. But also, what the fuck is going on with those undertones? What? I don't understand. Like, one of them is straight up pink, and then the rest of them look like khaki pants or something. Like, what are these undertones? Maybe it's just the promo pic. Like, maybe the lighting was off or something, but like, the brand should be saying like, can we do a redo, please? Because what the hell? I'm truly mystified by these undertones. They look horrible. I don't get it. But also, it really doesn't look like a very diverse range of shades. Like, there appears to be a lot of overlap and very little differentiating them one from the next, with the exception of like the first, well, not even the first 3 on the left. No, like something weird goes on in like swatch number 3, 4, 5 on that left-hand side. There's like cream colored, straight up peach, and then anemic olive. So, I mean, while I'm interested in a totally transfer-proof foundation, and that sounds fantastic, I suspect it's going to be really hard to shade match. Like, it just looks so bizarre to me. Am I the only one seeing that? Maybe I'm overreacting. I don't know, but it looks really wonky to me. Let's switch gears, talk about Natasha Denona, because somebody in Romania, I believe, found this palette at their local Sephora. This is going to be the Circo Loco, I believe. Yes, Circo Loco palette. No idea when the launch date is going to be. So she found this palette, bought it, did the swatches, did the whole thing. There are videos on her channel. I will link it down below. And then when she went back to Sephora, however many days later, it was gone off of the display. I'm thinking somebody done messed up. That's my guess. What I cannot figure out, though, is now that it's obviously been out and it was obviously shipped to a Sephora somewhere, why the hell hasn't Natasha Denona just announced the damn thing and released it? I don't understand. Like, why are you holding it on to the chest? Like, it doesn't make any, like, the cat's out of the bag. Just release the fucking thing. Like, I don't understand that. But regardless, this is going to be the Circo Loco palette. 15 shades, different finishes. Trend Mood is guessing it's going to be the $129 US price point, so basically akin to all of her full-sized ones. I think it looks like a really pretty combination of colors. I'm not convinced that it's something that I need, given what I said before with the Makeup by Tammy palette. I think this is more in line with where my preferences are now than the other palette. I'm squarely on the fence with this one. And I've got to say, the $129 price point in US dollars, in Canadian dollars, translates to $175. So I have to be like head over heels in love with the color story to shell out $175 for a palette. In fact, I can't say that I ever actually have. So while I think this is a pretty color story, I know that it's not the kind that I'm going to be reaching for this like even once a week. You know what I mean? So do I really want to spend $175 on a palette that I'm not going to get that much use out of? Heck no. Heck no. So we'll see. The price is not confirmed. Like I said, we don't have any information from Natasha Denona herself. So if this is one of those like $80 palettes, that's going to give me something a little bit more to think about, but time will tell. Now, keeping in mind what I said about colorful makeup, this palette though, screams to me. I think it's so beautiful. These colors don't intimidate me. They're bright and they're fun and they're like so very spring and summer appropriate, but they're just that right level of intensity that I could see myself wearing this to the office. This doesn't intimidate me. And when I look at this palette, I see a bunch of different looks coming together in my mind right off the bat. Unfortunately, the pre-order has sold out, so God only knows when it's going to actually be available. It's $28 US. It's from, how do you say this? Musee Beauty, I believe. I think. I think it's so pretty. This is the Le Jardin palette, the perfect name for it. I definitely have my eye on this. I think it's so, so pretty. I think you can blend those colors together really nicely, or you can do like a monochromatic thing. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. I definitely have my eye on this one. If I see it restocking, that is something that I can see myself purchasing. Speaking of seeing myself purchase, I actually did purchase one of the palettes in this release. So this is a new collaboration between Uoma Beauty and Coming to America too. Again, a very random mashup, but you know what? Here we are. So I actually ordered the largest palette, which is the Royal Heritage palette. I love pinks and purples. Like, I love them. So while I was saying, you know, more toned down makeup, but not necessarily neutral, this is my speed. So it has a row of matte and a row of shimmers. I thought they might be pressed glitters, but apparently they're not. So yay. But those colors just like, they speak to me. So I'm very excited to get my hands on that. Now the other two palettes do retail for a lower price point. They're $29 US each. But when I personally look at them, I don't see a lot of different combinations coming together in my mind. And so I know that they're the kind of palettes that I will take out, I will look at, I'll say, wow, these shades are really pretty, and then I'll put them back on my shelf and grab a different palette. So I did not purchase those ones, although I do think that the colors are beautiful. I just know personally I'm not going to get a lot of use out of it. The lipsticks got me. They sat in my cart for ages, and then ultimately I put them back. So again, if I didn't have a beauty budget going on, I would have bought at least one lipstick and probably even one of the liners, to be honest, the purple liner. But as it is, I just stuck to the large palette. But these are available now on Beautylish and various price points depending on the item, of course. But I do think it's really pretty, and I'm excited to test out the Uoma Beauty eyeshadow formula because I don't think they've ever done eyeshadows before. I could be wrong on that, but I don't think they have. I'm excited nonetheless. Now, if you watched my review, then obviously you know I bought this palette. This is the Aquamarine palette from BH Cosmetics, part of their Birthstone monthly releases that they're doing. I like the palette. I really like the palette. At first, I was a little put off that they included these neutral tones, but frankly, in using the palette, it makes it that much more approachable and usable for my own personal preferences at any rate. There is a pressed glitter in it. It is on the bottom right side called Jet Setter. Now, what I want to draw your attention to though, in case you haven't seen my video, are the swatches. So, I have two major issues with these swatches. First is the number 1 shade, Aquamarine. It has more of a purple shift to it than what this picture indicates. Number 7 looks absolutely nothing like this. Nothing at all. So Jet Setter, the pressed glitter, in these pictures you would think that it is a turquoise shade. It is not. I have the palette right, what the fuck? Right here. This is the pressed glitter shade. In no world is that blue. Not at all. There's no way that that's passing for turquoise. Not in the way that they have swatched it here. It has like goldish, peach, green reflex. Like it's actually a beautiful, beautiful shade or collection of shades. I don't know how to describe that. It's beautiful, but it's not turquoise. And this picture is very misleading. And I don't understand why brands do that. They have to know that the shade looks nothing like that. They have to know. They swatched the goddamn thing. Like it makes no sense to me. So while I do love me some BH, I don't love this because I think it's misleading, and I think people that buy based on these kind of pictures are going to be disappointed because they're not getting what it is that they've been shown. I don't like that. Regardless, I think that the palette is fantastic. I have no complaints about how it applies, how it blends out, how it wears, any of that. My complaint lies strictly in these swatch pictures because I think, frankly, it's a little bit of horseshit. So that is going to bring us to the item I am the most excited about this week, and it's coming from Shuyamara, a brand that I don't have a lot of experience with. I haven't tried any of their eyeshadows before, and I've just kind of dabbled here and there with a few products from them. But this collection, oh my gosh, it looks stunning. So this is a collaboration with Sadahura Aoki, who is a pastry chef based in Paris, but blends Japanese and Western styles in his creations. These palettes look beautiful. These promo pics are next level. Like, if we're gonna talk chef's kiss, it is incredibly apropos here with a literal chef. There are two eyeshadow palettes. There's the Matcha Genois eye palette and the Azuki Fiote eye palette. I apologize if I'm butchering these pronunciations. So the collection is inspired by and scented by matcha and azuki beans. I'm not familiar with azuki beans. I truly am not. There are 6 lipsticks as well. There are eyebrow pencils, cleansing oils, and foundation brushes. They're going to be available in April on the Shuyamara website. I am really hoping that it's going to be available for Canadian and American markets as well, because my God, I want this. I think it looks incredible. The eyeshadow palettes, again, the pink one, right up my alley. Those tones, perfection in my opinion. The green palette as well, I just like, I want that green shade on my face, like everywhere. I cannot overstate how beautiful I think this is. The lipsticks look beautiful. This picture, like it's so perfect. The attention to detail, the inspiration, like the whole thing is there. This whole, it's done so beautifully. I'm so happy with this. I'm guessing that the swirls on the plate are actual like melted lipstick, so that gives you a little bit of an idea. I don't know how I'm going to decide though, because all of those shades are gorgeous. This might be one of those situations where I'm like, beauty budget who? Huh? Because I don't know what the prices are. There's no prices listed. But I want both palettes. I want all 6 lipsticks. Like, I just am living for this collection. I think it's such perfection. I am so excited for this. Like, so excited. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm just gonna sit here and like drool over the beauty that are these pictures, that are these products. I want it so badly. All right, and that is why it's at the number 1. So I would love to hear from you. What is your number 1 desire this week in terms of new releases? Let me know in the comments down below. But for now, I'm going to wrap this video up. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch, and I will see you in my next one. Until then, just be a decent human being. Bye for now.